Hi guys, this is Raven, and
Jason.
today we're starting a new segment for our podcast called Story Time. We'll be reading stories not necessarily just from Reddit, but today they are all just from Reddit. I found some stories from the r/am the asshole subreddit. Yeah. That's where I started looking. Every story is from r/am the asshole.
Okay, I'm ready to judge some assholes.
Alright, so the first story. Am I the asshole for not wanting someone at my D&D table?
Yes.
So
That's how you do it, right? It's just straight up.
Sure.
Right off the top. All right, next story.
Oh, we can do it that way if you want to judge based on the title first and then hear the story and then give more judgment.
All right, I will be the devil's advocate and say yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess this is where the context comes in.
Yeah.
If it were just some no-faced person came up to me and said, "Can I sit here and play this game with you?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." That's just me. So initially, my gut reaction is to be like, "Yeah, you're an asshole for not at least giving this person a chance." But I'm assuming this story is going to go and say they did give them a chance, and now they want them gone.
Do you want
Proceed.
me to read it?
Yeah,
Okay.
proceed.
Okay. So I've already talked to my closest mate about this, and he thinks I'm not the asshole.
Boy, mate.
But I wanted to be judged by the people of Reddit. I don't know why, but okay. I run a D&D campaign with some of my close friends.
Oh, that's your first problem.
I run a D&D campaign with some close friends whenever we get the free time, and it consists of me and 4 of my mates. We've been going for a little under a year now, and I thought I would run a one-shot at a local gaming cafe every Friday afternoon. Of course, we don't... Yeah, every Friday. Of course, we don't have massively long, so we play for a bit of time, maybe an hour to an hour and a half at maximum. And then we say goodbye and go our separate ways. This is a way to pass the weekends while we wait for a day. We're all free to run a bigger campaign for maybe 5 or 6 hours in one go. Recently, one of the people that I knew from my secondary school, Larry, has been popping by as he is also a big fan of the things the cafe has to offer, as it also sells things like trading cards and D&D books. Of course, we all said hi as we all knew him, because the reason my friends know each other was through secondary school, and he would come swing by and see what we were doing.
What is a secondary school? Is this like out of high school?
No. I think they're from the UK.
Well, yeah, so they're saying mates, so this is obviously not on our side of the pond.
I don't want to be wrong, but I think secondary school is like middle school for us.
9 through 12 in the United States, so high school. So they're all high school buddies.
Okay, yeah. One Friday I was running maybe 5 minutes behind, and I arrived to see Larry has pulled up a chair to the table and is typing on his phone. My friends wave me over and say that he really wanted to play with us and is now creating a character for a one-shot.
Is Larry a typical UK name?
I don't know. For me, it just sounds like a name that I associate with America and Southern people, but that might be because I personally knew a Larry who was very Southern. Where was I? My friends wave me over and say that he really wanted to play with us and is now creating a character for the one-shot. I'm immediately uncomfortable because I hardly know the guy, and he's now seated right near me at the head of the table. I ran with this for about 3 weeks before making excuses about my job getting very stressful, and I ran with this for about 3 weeks before making excuses about my job getting very stressful, so I just wanted to take the time to drink coffee and catch up. When it comes to running my main campaign, I feel comfortable because I know I can afford to make mistakes, and I know how each of my friends will play, but I've never played D&D before with Larry, and it felt almost like a chore that I had consistent Oh, sorry. It felt almost like a chore that I had constant eyes on me, judging my every move. The reason the reason I've not brought up this to my friends is because he is visibly neurodivergent, and saying that I'm not comfortable with him at my table makes me look like an ableist douche. I also have autism spectrum disorder and probably ADHD, so that's not the reason I don't want him playing with us. I also came to learn that we share a lot of common interests, and I enjoy talking to him about Steven Universe. I'm just not close enough with him to run a session.
Is question asker femme presenting? Are they
Not said.
gender not specified?
Yeah, gender not specified. I actually talked to my closest mate about this, who was another DM for our main sessions as we flipped back and forth, and they said that the rest of the group didn't even consult him and just invited the guy without asking anyone. I get being inclusive, but I want them to respect my opinions for once. He has stopped joining our table because I haven't run anything in a while uh, because of some actual family things that have happened. So Reddit, am I the asshole for not wanting him at my table? And OP offered an explanation of why they might be an asshole. I do not want someone at my D&D table, and they are visibly neurodivergent, and I'm afraid it'll make me look like an ableist dickhead.
Mm.
Before we get into relevant comments, what are your opinions?
Well, first off, I think maybe since they're all high school friends, well, I don't know if it was specified if they were currently in high school, secondary school, as they put it.
Yeah.
But this is a volatile time for those adolescents. And maybe you just got to stand up and just say, I don't want to play with you. You can say those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if Larry hasn't gone and done anything worth banning him from the table, I think you would be an asshole for kicking him. But often I like to play with 3 or 4 players. So having an overload of people, especially with my neurodivergence and having to understand other people's neurodivergencies as well, it starts to add up. So a lot of spinning plates.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be apologetic for your own like neurodivergencies, like I was saying. And people who have it can also be understanding that it starts to add up,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a public place like a cafe.
Yeah. And while a one shot isn't necessarily like high stakes when it comes to being a player or even a GM or DM, it's still a little bit much to, as a player, invite another player without consulting either of your GMs, because they apparently have two DMs and the players didn't consult either of them before doing this, which I think is the problem. But not necessarily that Larry is joining, because OP hasn't said anything about how Larry plays, and he's even said that they like talking to Larry. So maybe they're just uncomfortable because Larry's a new person, not because of who Larry is.
Yeah, maybe they're not really a part of the friend group either in high school, and that this is the only time where they can kind of get together and do something.
Yeah, I don't think they're in high school. I think it says that they know each other from secondary school, which means it's like past tense. They were in secondary school, not that they are.
Okay, well, we know each other from high school.
Yeah.
I think they are, and usually more higher functioning adult would be okay with coming up and saying, "Hey, I don't want to play with you. Your breath stank," or but I guess and to say someone is visibly autistic is kind of putting you in that chair as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe you are an asshole. You have asshole tendencies. Sorry.
Maybe it's like an almost an everyone sucks here thing because the players didn't consult either of their GMs, and the GM that is having a problem is avoiding playing games just to not play with Larry.
And another thing, I think a lot of the problems stem from Dungeons and Dragons itself. There's a lot of information to go over, and there's a lot of information in Dungeons and Dragons, and a lot to know. And maybe you have the kind of autism where you do know everything, but introducing someone new to it or someone who might threaten your knowledge of the game kind of poses throws a wrench in the mix.
Yeah, well, I also don't think that's necessarily the problem. I mean, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons has a lot of information for new players, and you have to like have been a player for a while to really fully understand how to play the game.
Yeah, or understand how to make characters off of online utilities.
But I don't think that is the problem that OP is having with Larry. And I don't even think necessarily the problem is Larry. It sounds more like it's because the players included somebody without consulting them. I think that is the problem.
But then they went and played a game with them.
For 3 weeks, yeah.
Okay, so now they're part of the group.
But then OP stopped playing. Like, they stopped doing the one-offs.
Because of this one person?
Yeah, because they didn't have the capacity when they didn't speak up again about it. The problem is that they aren't speaking up about it. Do you want to get into relevant comments, or do you want to know what the vote was?
Well, I obviously think they're going to say not the asshole, but
yeah, they were voted not the asshole.
Yeah. But there's a lot of information to go over in that, right? In that sense, you could swing it either way. Your friends are assholes. You're an asshole for not speaking up.
Yeah, well, that's why I said everyone sucks
They
here.
probably thought you were okay with it because you played 3 games with the guy. You like talking about Steven Universe, so obviously you're good at hiding your emotions.
I think the problem is not being able to speak up for yourself. And then also the other players not consulting the DM first.
Yeah, and as the DM, you can take on the role of someone and play into it. Be an asshole a little bit. If you really don't want something, you can obtain it by playing a different role. It's called masking.
One commenter said, not the asshole, though the Dungeon Master is the supreme being inside the confines of D&D and similar games. Each group needs to develop and agree upon some basic rules involving what happens outside of the game. How you invite a new player into the game, whether or not you know them already, is one of those things that should be discussed by and agreed to with everyone. How to handle conflict that erupts between two players, but is about stuff that is outside the game, e.g., a couple breaks up is another. And that person has a point too. Like those are important things. Like knowing how to handle outside relationships for the inside relationships of a game. And then there's an everyone sucks here. D&D is a group game and the DM is part of the group. You don't just, quote, invite someone over without everyone being on board, as that has multiple issues to it, from making mistakes / whatever to banned topics or what people are comfortable with. Could you try to integrate him with the group? Maybe, but that takes time. Did you try to do so? We don't know, but it could be a way to make you more comfortable.
Right. And so, like, I'm imagining this happening, and I guess he was already at the table before she showed up, right?
Yeah. We don't know what their gender is.
I think another thing about being uncomfortable with this, because I feel like a guy would be able to just put their foot down and say no, as well as anybody who has been taken advantage of might have a little hard time of doing this, but they can see the signs.
Hmm.
And I mean, if some rando is just coming into this cafe to sit at my weekly D&D table, I would have questions.
Yeah.
And obviously I didn't prep for this, so they're likely not to be included.
Hmm.
So giving into, like, maybe you want to show off your skills as a creative and just be work with what you got, work on the fly. It's impressive, but at what cost?
Yeah, I think another thing is maybe letting person join for this one session. They could have had him sit at the table, listen, and watch everyone play and see if he liked the group dynamic. And then after that, then he joins in. They did play for 3 weeks. I guess that's giving it a try, but I don't know if it's really fair enough, like, of a try. Because the way it stopped is just that OP was making excuses to not play anymore. Well,
Mm.
it's like a reasonable excuse, like there's family stuff going on, but they don't have to get into it, obviously. But it's still, they could have maybe talked to Larry by themselves.
Were they still playing games in the off time when not at this cafe?
No, I think they just used the cafe as a place to catch up instead. Like, they changed it to that.
Okay. But it's weird to have a place where you can go in public to actually play that's not like a game store.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a
Um,
gaming cafe. I think that would be fun. We don't have that where we're at, but
no, nobody wants to have all the food integrated with the fun.
yeah.
It's a little messy, especially with our types of food:
Pizza,
glizzies, hot
glizzies,
dogs.
the shaboings.
So yeah,
Any
what do
final
you
thoughts?
want to what do you call them?
It's kind of an everyone sucks here, in my opinion. Is the players should have consulted the GM first, and the GM could have tried a little harder.
Yeah, I think you look like an asshole for not standing up for yourself.
Yeah, definitely that. Like, you could have spoken up, and you should be speaking up, especially as a DM. You should know what your like what your capacity is for how you want to play this game.
Yeah,
And
it's giving. They're giving like motherly instincts. Kind of gotta keep all their ducks in a row. That's why I'm assuming this person is femme presenting or female.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're doing your children a disservice by not saying no sometimes.
Yeah. There's also two more comments that say that this person is the asshole. They're
Yeah, read those.
voted they're voted not the asshole, but one person said, "I would say you're the asshole is a one shot in a public place. This might be the chance to find another player for your main game. And saying you are not comfortable because he is neurodivergent is ableist. You have neurodivergent issues yourself. Put yourself in their shoes that you are being excluded because of your issues." Well, first of all, they said they don't want to seem like that's why, because that's not the reason why they're.
Visibly neurodivergent.
They mentioned that this person is neurodivergent and they don't want it to seem like that's why they don't want to play with them. They didn't say that is why they don't want to play with them. I think this commenter just misunderstood a little bit what was happening.
I also, yeah, like this person, I don't know why they would use the verbiage visibly, but
Yeah,
another
that
thing,
that
maybe this person is attracted to OP and sat at the table thinking right next to them, a chair away, to try and get into the friend group and get to know each other better.
yeah, I mean there's nothing wrong with that though. Unless OP is uncomfortable
That's
with
what
it, but then OP
that's what
needs
makes
to
them
speak up.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's when OP needs to speak up. Not hide what they're feeling. Like they've only talked to one person, well, two people technically, one of their friends and the other DM. And I don't think that's enough. That's not enough for standing up for yourself. And the other person said, "You're the asshole for running a closed game where people would want to join it, and then it gets worse from there."
Yeah, playing in public is kind of like you're inviting people in. Like if you make a
Hmm.
podcast about it, we're inviting people to comment, and then we react off of what they say if they like it or not. We change our course.
Yeah. I think playing in a public place means that you have to expect that some people are going to ask to play with you.
Yeah, or some Karen's gonna ask you to come over and turn the volume down because you're having so much fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, next story. Oh, should I have been saying the name of the
Reddit
Redditor who
user,
posted? Yeah.
you can say that was by.
Okay, let me go back. Right. So, am I the asshole for not wanting someone at my D&D table? This story is by it's_panda70. All right, we'll just put that in the front.
Girl. Girl gamer. Girl gamer.
Girl gamer. Am I the asshole if I ask my
Yes.
partner if I ask am I the asshole if I ask my partner not to play in a D&D game because I'm not invited to play? And this comes from Reddit user Pleasant11247. All right. So this one's kind of long.
Okay, hold on. So like if we were in the same boat, this would be you being the asshole, right? Because you weren't invited to play?
Me asking, like if I was asking if I would be the asshole to make you not play, basically. And yes, I would be.
Mhm.
Immediately, I think this person is the asshole
One more
just
time,
based on
read
the.
it again.
Am I the asshole if I ask my partner to play? Oh my gosh. Am
Not
I
to.
the asshole if I ask my partner not to play in a D&D game because I'm not invited to play? Like,
So
probably.
at the top, without knowing much about the story, if they again weren't invited or were invited initially, had a game, and then realized they don't want that player to be there anymore, uninvited them, then yes, you would be the asshole. But if it's like an initial, like, hey, Jason, you're gonna come play, right? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. Can Raven come? And they'll be like, no. And without giving any more reason than that, I would assume that it's because they don't want to have a overload of players.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna go with yes. Just like off of the title.
Yeah. Right. I've been playing D&D with. Oh my gosh. I've been playing with a D&D group for about 4 years and invited my partner, A, to join. 2 years ago, the DM asked if I was okay taking a break from the game for a bit. Said it was
Good.
still
Good. That's what the GMs should be
just like,
doing.
yeah, speak up for yourself.
Yes.
Said I was still in the group server. Oh my gosh.
This is your chance to be your own GM and go find your own group to play while your partner goes and plays elsewhere. Then they'd
Yeah.
get jealous and try to get invited into your group.
Said it was still in the group and server, but it seemed like a needed break. I assumed because I had missed to. Oh my gosh, this person. A part of this, I'm going to struggle because of dyslexia and because the grammar is kind of bad. I don't want to judge somebody's grammar, but my dyslexia and grammar not being great is going to fuck me up. Me.
That's another point for asshole right there. No, not good grammar.
I don't know if this person's first language is English, so that might be why their grammar is bad.
Okay. Maybe I'll take that point off.
Yeah. I assumed because I had to miss games due to work schedule. I would to arrange my work schedule so I'd have time off when games were scheduled and make up lost hours on the weekends or after hours. Then someone in the Then someone else in the server, I'll call B, posted about wanting to run another game and posted a link to the server we were all in, so I clicked and expressed interest. Then B messaged me and told me, to be perfectly honest, I don't feel entirely comfortable with you joining my campaign, especially since this is my first time running a homebrew campaign like this. With how many people are already going to be playing, on top of some of the behavior you have exhibited while playing with us in the past, I'm unfortunately going to have to say no to letting you join my campaign.
Yeah, you're just a big old pervert.
Oh,
Oh,
maybe. We don't know, actually.
got is it Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, they're saying DM, so I think so.
Yeah, or Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this person, if they only know one game, if the question asker only knows one game and they know it is Dungeons and Dragons as the dungeon master, then it's definitely D&D.
Yeah.
You need to learn how to be a better player, it sounds like. Maybe you need to make your own
There's still
game.
more of the story.
I don't even need to hear it.
You might want to, though.
Okay.
This was the
Turns out OP's boyfriend's been cheating with the GM of the group and doesn't want
that
her
would be
around.
a wild twist, but
Yeah.
this was the first time I learned there was any issues with me in this group. When the DM talked to me about taking a break, he specifically said I hadn't done anything and he wasn't upset. So I was blindsided. Then I learned from B that people had issues with things I'd done, but no one told me, so I didn't know. My partner continued to play in the main game and even invited another mutual friend to join. I was really hurt by this because people doing things and me being excluded is a trigger. Don't say anything yet, Jason. There's a lot. I'm autistic and I was excluded a lot, bullied in middle school. In high school, my birth mother abandoned me, so I was sent to live with my aunt and uncle who have a daughter a year younger than me. Then And when she had friends over, I was told to stay in my room and not hang out with her friends. I didn't go on summer vacation with them. I was left behind and got alone while they went out to eat as a family. I was asked to step out so they could get just family photos. At 18, I was forced to move out and not welcome back. My partner continuing to play in the game and inviting another person I thought cared about me really hurt my feelings because they didn't care I wasn't invited and were happy to go and have fun without me. I hid in the car to cry for hours while partner played game in our studio apartment. I eventually talked to my partner about moving out. My partner talked to the DM who talked to me and he actually explained the issues and how I could work on them. He let me into the game provisionally to see if I improved with constructive criticism and clear boundaries and expectations. I did and was invited back. A couple weeks ago, the DM had to step away for a bit, and on voice chat, the group B offered to run their game instead. Last week, B clarified they do not want me to play. Now my partner is set to once again play the game where I am not invited. That's the story. There are relevant comments, but we'll get into them after this.
Yeah. So why did
Mhm.
you want me to not say anything? Like, what did you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say we don't need the sob story. It's in the
Oh,
middle.
the blaming it on your trauma thing is the only thing I
Yeah.
would say. Like,
Mhm.
they probably are young, maybe before pre-30s, I'd say.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can make your own assumptions as to why people only want their own families in a photo. This is D&D
Yeah.
isn't a therapy game, but it can be to some people,
Mhm.
especially this person who seems to need some form of social thing, but
Yes.
can't make it themselves.
Mhm.
If you were to GM your own games, you wouldn't be unincluded. You wouldn't be allowed to join your own game. So if you made your own game with your partner, maybe is it yeah, with your partner,
Mhm.
then he can invite people from those other groups to play with you,
Yeah.
and you'd make it your own, and then you'd find some sort of ground to stand on where you would feel okay with being left out of things because you've experienced how being a GM is and the DM and
Yeah.
how the workload is. For the first GM, it sounds like they got it down, understanding initially that they wanted to lighten their load a little bit, but then they're taking you on as basically a liability because they're gonna take a hit to their game by having to focus other characters and not distributing that spotlight to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And good on you for fixing yourself up a little bit with constructive criticism. Now it's okay, but when person B wants to do their game, they don't want to have to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's okay. And it's also okay for your partner to do things separately from you, even if it's something that you normally do as a couple. Like, they were originally playing the game together, but now they aren't. And if that is the problem, then they, like you said, should make their own campaign.
And they were asked to take a seat. Did they have to be completely excluded? No. They could have just not played in the game,
Yeah.
but sat with their partner at least to be included.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to go out and cry in the car. You could have stayed inside and enjoyed the company of all your friends.
Yeah.
But
Unless
you
unless GMB or person B was saying, or like making them feel that they couldn't do that. But I
it
think,
was her apartment or their
yeah,
apartment. Why would they? Mm.
I think they're playing on Discord. So, like,
So
they're playing over Discord. So they could have just sat there and did their own thing and, like, had, like, parallel play with their partner. Like, while their partner was doing that, they could have done something on their own.
well, they said that while their partner played inside, right?
Yeah, I think on Discord. Because they mentioned a Discord server. They didn't say the group played inside, they said the partner.
You know, I bet she sat in the car with that Discord server listening to them play. Like just put it on the car radio and or on their phone, put it on the dashboard and listen to them play and have fun while she sat there and cried.
Yeah. And they could have, with the first DM, um, they they told this person that they didn't do anything wrong. He specifically said, I hadn't done anything wrong and he wasn't upset. Instead of doing that, the DM should have been honest.
That was being honest, right? That was the GM
No.
telling the person this, right?
Yeah, well, maybe the DM thinks that OP never did anything wrong, but the players obviously did, because that's why they're not allowed to join into the person B's campaign.
Yeah, maybe they never apologized for their previous actions. And you
I
can't keep blaming your
Your
reaction to
trauma.
things on your trauma because you can work
Yeah.
on that yourself
Yeah.
and you don't need your partner to do that.
I think relying on your partner to not feel abandoned makes it hard to not feel abandoned when your partner does something on their own.
And I guess therapy is expensive, so you're relying on the free assets of your friends for that company instead of a licensed professional.
Yeah, but that's also where talking about your feelings comes into play.
Hmm. But we don't want to talk about feelings in Dungeons and Dragons. We want to slay monsters and get loot and have sex with things, I guess, if that's what you'd like.
No.
It's
but
like this person is too horny. Sit down.
but I do think everyone is valid in their feelings. Literally everyone has valid feelings in what's going on, but OP's kind of going about it the wrong way. The original DM should have told OP why they were asking them to take a seat out of the game.
Hmm. And I guess the partner in this situation is also kind of an asshole to not really step in and ask for more clarification,
Yeah.
or suggest things like, you don't have to sit outside in your car, you can sit in and listen. You
Hmm.
But I guess, or maybe he told them, or I'm assuming the partner is a guy, because
I think yeah, he is. This is
okay, you
partner
see,
talked to my partner talked to the DM who talked to me, and he actually explained the issues. No, okay, I think the DM is a man. It doesn't necessarily say if their partner is a man.
okay, boyfriend told question asker to go sit out in the car and cry out there so that he didn't have to listen to her cry while they were playing. Maybe you guys need to break up. You need to find some solid ground in yourself. You need to find that stability in yourself before relying on it from others.
Yeah, it does sound like maybe the partner is being a little insensitive.
Hmm.
There's no way that the partner doesn't know about OP's trauma because it is a lot that this person had gone through. This not is not really relevant to the story, but it is a lot. And I can understand why somebody would feel left out.
I
But
imagine the character they built for this game that got them kicked out was a rogue or a bard and had a sad backstory that really played a lot into the character's actions.
mhm,
And other players were like, we don't have to do that every time.
yeah. I mean, sometimes like we've been playing for almost 10 years now. Like just TTRPGs in general, and the sad backstories can get tiring. And I can understand how somebody would be tired of that and just want to have like not to worry about other people's like trauma coming into play into the game.
So that's why I think you should play a different game that isn't Dungeons and Dragons. I think that
Yeah.
really can solve a lot of problems.
Yes, that's
It's been
true.
it's been sold as like the main RPG that you can get all your friends together and have a fun fantasy-filled adventure, or
there
do
are
something in space or as animals.
there's
But
actually easier TTRPGs that can be played, and even the games set up boundaries. Like that's part of setting up. But we don't have to go over that part because we understand boundaries, and our friends are very open with how they want their boundaries to be handled. But with other people, going through that part of the book that helps you set up would help with this kind of play group.
all right, let's move on to one more. I think we can get one more in.
No relevant comments?
I don't really want to hear what other people have to say at this point because it just might sway my opinion a little bit more. Maybe just one
Yeah,
because that you did earlier with the other
yeah.
question.
There was this one. The sob story you threw in is completely irrelevant. I'd
Yeah.
like to know I'd like to know how more people. Oh my gosh. The sob story you threw in is completely irrelevant here. I'd like to know more about how these actions you were doing that made people uncomfortable. I've been in D&D groups with some people that use fantasy role-playing as a way to act out incredibly dark and horrific fantasies. Same. I think it's great that the original DM is willing to let you work on your issues so that you can still keep playing. But at the end of the day, your own actions got you kicked from the group, and that shouldn't mean your boyfriend who knows how to act appropriately should suffer your consequences. You're the asshole until you elaborate on what you did.
Did they ever respond?
OP said, I interrupted other players by speaking up / cutting them off, but did not realize I was interrupting. Other players thought my character was pushing story arcs they aren't ready for by pushing them for information about things. The DM talked to me in April 2023, and I've been playing with them again for 14 months. Then the DM had to step aside, and in the new group voice chat, player B talked about running a game. I later learned everyone was invited but me. Everyone in the group being involved and then invited, and oh my gosh. Everyone in the group being invited and then being told I cannot go made me feel like when my guardians and their children went out to do family things without me, which is why it hurt that my partner is still going to play. I wanted to clarify my feelings. And then another commenter, said, like, they quoted the everyone in a group being invited and then being told I cannot go part. Said it shouldn't. That time your lack of participation was due to things they did and their behavior. This time is due to the things you did and your own behavior, which is all correct.
Valid.
Very, very valid. Like, I personally have a problem sometimes with cutting people off, but I realize it and I apologize. That is something that OP needs to learn.
That's probably what the secondary GM player B was feeling, was because they were getting cut off by you. They didn't want you to be included because they didn't want to have to get cut off and stop for you.
Am I the asshole for refusing to use Am I the asshole for refusing to use a new gaming table when I already have my own for a TTRPG campaign that I DM? And this is by Space Girl K.
What? Who cares about a table?
That's what the whole story is about.
Yeah, a table? Okay, maybe the table is like
Well,
creepy.
actually,
or
it's not really what the story's about, but it is what the story seems to be about. It was
am I the asshole for using my own table instead of getting a new one?
No, it's a gaming table.
Read it again.
Am I for refusing to use a new gaming table when I already have my own for a TTRPG campaign that I DM?
So someone came up and was like, hey, let's use this table instead of the one that you're using. Maybe it's like a fold-out table or whatever. Or, I don't know, maybe they have to lug this huge table around that has amenities on it. Like those fancy ones from Wormwood or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can get custom made. Yeah, sure, you're an asshole. Just use a fucking table. Honestly, what's the big deal? We're all allowed to, as long as we're invited, we're allowed to eat at other people's table.
Right.
Period.
Period. After COVID, I built a gaming table with an inlay TV, meant to be used with board games, a tabletop role-playing game. I'm a forever DM, and it has lots of bells and whistles and works decently well.
So vain, this person.
I'm assuming they built it out of interest or boredom during COVID, because that's what it says. Over COVID, they built.
Yeah, but now they're like, oh, we can only use my table because I put so much effort into building it.
Why don't you hear the story though?
Because I'm trying to make an assumption right at the top, so that I can go hard and take a big swing with this.
It has a lot of bells and whistles and works decently well. And prior, I had a very little woodworking experience. However, using it was near impossible as everything was done online, so my table just sat unused for years.
Okay. Sell it.
No, that was during COVID, babe.
Yeah, and now they're playing the game and they're like, we must use my table or else it's going to be a waste.
Last September, well, they're also the forever DM, so that I'm assuming they're always going to OP's house to DM.
DM Dungeons and Dragons. Here we go.
Jason, that's not part of the story.
Okay. It's always part of the story.
The thing centers around the table.
Right. And they specifically made this table to play Dungeons and Dragons.
And other games. It says with board games and tabletop role-playing games.
Yeah. So Dungeons and Dragons and other board games.
Yeah. Which I think is pretty neat that they built it then instead of, buying it. But still. Anyway, last September, I finally got a group together to play my campaign every other Saturday at my place, using my gaming table. During the course of some sessions, I've come to learn some of the pros and cons of my table design, and seeing what hasn't worked very well led me to vocalizing to the group that I'd like to make a version 2.0. Learning from some of the setbacks from my current table, I also 3D printed their minis, monsters, and built our battle map from scratch to be used on my table. A few of my players liked my gaming table and decided that they wanted to eventually build their own. Meanwhile, my friend offered to help me build my new table when I was ready. Until then, he and other players had made plans to build their new table during a session break that I went out of town. After I got back, my friend announced that they finished the other gaming table and that it was ready for us to switch to my. Sorry.
I'm already feeling justified in my answer.
After I got back, my friend announced that they finished the other gaming table and that it was ready for us to switch my campaign over to. However, this was all news to me. I didn't intend on abandoning my table to use theirs, but I wasn't even part of any discussion. When I brought this up, I was told that they had been discussing that because their table was better than mine, they collectively decided that would be better for everyone to play on. This honestly crushed me in a way that is hard to vocalize. Sure.
Hard to vocalize.
Writes
See
Reddit
section
post.
A.
When I pushed back that I was hesitant to do this, to now suddenly be expected to have to lug all of my equipment, minis, set pieces, etc., over to another house to use
Yeah,
their
the stuff
better
that you
table.
specifically made for them.
Yeah, but they're holding it. I'm assuming that the table has storage. Set pieces over, etc., to another house to use their better table. I had been told that I was being selfish. I do so much for them, and I work so hard for them to have an enjoyable experience, and I have never asked them in return for anything. And to hear
Pause.
that...
I have a thought.
Yeah.
They made this table for you. They literally just took your idea, improved upon it, innovated for you. Because you were doing such a good job in the first place. You made your table by yourself with little to no knowledge. 3D printed minis for them, and now you can sell your table and use the new one. Use that money to improve your own things. Anyway, I just think, yeah, asshole.
There's more to the story.
I wanted a small one, but now I'm invested.
Okay. I have never asked them in return for anything, and to hear that, it just hurt me so much more. Obviously, this wasn't entirely about the table for me. It was how quick they went to saying that I wasn't doing enough for them, and the worst part was, if they had included me in those discussions, I would have tried to voice my concerns and offered to possibly gradually move that direction, but that was never the case, and now I'm self-deprecating because the group turned against me because I'm being selfish and crazy. They tell me... What?
They said that you're not doing enough?
Yeah. That's what this says.
Maybe that was like an inference of some kind.
Maybe.
Like, yeah, we liked the table initially, but it could be more, so we just came up with our own.
Mm-hmm.
We took your idea, innovated, and now we have this table that we can all play on. I mean, if you were happy about it, then you can get on with it and play your games and not feel sad. Sometimes you can just let bygones be bygones.
Yeah. They tell me
Most
that
of the time.
now all of their hard work is going unappreciated because they
Mm.
built the table specifically to replace my own, which was entirely news to me, without even considering my own hard work when I built my table myself. Like, suddenly, I was just expected to abandon my own table. Am I going insane? Am I the asshole here? Everyone has turned against me, but I can't seem to wrap my head around as to what I did wrong in thinking this way. And then OP offered the explanation of why they might be the asshole. The action that I took that should be judged is threatening to cancel my campaign. That action may make me the asshole because I refuse to accept I did anything wrong. That that specifically does scream asshole to me.
Yeah, you
But
can take some fault.
yeah, some fault at the very least. I think maybe their friends, OP's friends, just wanted to surprise him with a new table because they expressed that they wanted to build a new one, so they maybe this was their way of showing appreciation for their DM.
Yeah, and they did it on a day when a game wasn't scheduled.
Yeah, well,
So,
they did it while OP was away on a trip.
yeah, game wasn't scheduled.
Yeah.
And I guess it does take some planning too. So they knew you were going on this trip and they planned around it so that when you got back, they would surprise you with this table. Maybe that was some of the people's thoughts, but this post seems to be very me focused, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get any other thoughts from any other people. Just, and the ones that he did get were kind of like, they were bladed, like they were meant to hurt him in some way. And like Raven was going to specify on not taking any blame for at least some of your actions, it kind of frames you as the asshole.
Yeah. I do think that maybe maybe they could have discussed something else. Like, it's a lot for a DM to like have to lug all of their stuff from one place to another. It does make it easier to play at the DM's own home, especially if they're holding on to everyone's stuff. Um, so what they could have done is maybe suggest that they split which houses they go to.
Yeah, split custody of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're another thing is we don't know the location of original table. Maybe the next table, the one that everyone got together to build upon, is closer to where your group is. And instead of having 5 or 6 people get waste gas to come out to where you are, it's just you going to where they are.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily it. It's everyone all going to one house, no matter what.
Right. I think the second table is probably closer in location than the first table.
Oh, we can't assume that though, because that's not explicitly said in the.
Break it down again to not having any assets like this. And Dungeons and Dragons is just dice, paper, and the brain.
Yeah.
Sometimes a pen. You didn't really need to make minifigures or a table, and everything else is extra.
Mm-hmm.
If you can play the game without it, then you shouldn't feel bad if it's included.
Exactly. And like, oh yeah, it's cool that OP made this table, but everyone, including OP, expressed that there were problems, like pros and cons, with the table. So, with that in mind, the whole group came together and built a new one.
Mm.
And I think that is something good to consider. This OP was deemed not the asshole, um, but I think really they just don't want to give up their hard work on their table, but they were going to build a new one anyway. And someone in the comments expressed that they could use the new table, see what else needs to be improved on it before they build their own new table. And I think that's a good idea too. Like, just use the new table, see how that works. If you think there needs to be more improvements, that's what you do with your new table. somebody said, not the asshole. Players do need to realize how much work a DM actually puts into a campaign. It's at least 2 to 3 extra hours on top of the 4 to 5 long sessions that you are constantly working for them. Why don't you guys just switch locations every other week? Seems simple enough to be. Eventually, you'll build your new table, one that's better than theirs, and you'll see more flaws.
Yeah, and if this person is set in their ways, they can just keep having everyone come over to his table, wherever it may be,
Yeah.
to play your game. And then if they want to play a game on that table, have one of them be a GM. It's not like they built it without the understanding of how it functions, so they can make their own game and play it on that table.
Yeah, I
But
think.
the other thing, like you mentioned at the top, and I was critical of, was it's either Dungeons and Dragons or board games. If it's board games, we could play on their table. There's bound to be some fun board games that require some assets online that you can use a table like that for. We can go over
Yeah.
there, check it out. But when it's D&D time, you come back over to your table and play.
Yeah, and
That way it doesn't
honestly,
go completely unused.
and if they're using the new table, everyone can just keep their minis and all of that stuff at the new table. There's no reason for the DM to have to lug it back and forth every time. I know the DM made those things, but they made them as gifts, basically.
And if you didn't make it in the first place, you wouldn't be having this problem.
I don't think that's the important part here. Another person said, not the asshole. This almost sounds like they don't want you to be the DM and are trying to get you to make that decision for them. D&D is a collaborative thing, and when the entire group excludes the DM, the person who makes the world run, is a big flag waving at you that something else is going on. Also, and this may just be my experience, whoever is DMing gets to dictate where the session happens since they have the most amount of planning and figuring stuff out. Have a frank discussion with them. Are they happy with you DMing? Does one of them want to DM for a session? Is that why they want to move it? There is definitely something going on here beyond the table. And then somebody responded, yeah, this is not just about the table. The table is the least important thing about the D&D game. The table is the least important thing because you don't even need a table to play. You can just
Yeah,
sit on
but
the floor.
the question asker is posing. They're asking everyone for justification about it using the table as the focus.
Yeah. I don't think this commenter is correct in their assumptions, though. Like, this doesn't, to me, sound like somebody's trying to take over being the DM. It, to me, sounded like they were trying to do something nice for OP, and it was
They
mistaken.
they mentioned that it feels like the GM isn't doing enough for them.
Yeah.
So I guess that might be why they think that.
Well, that part wasn't in quotes, so I'm wondering if they really said that, or if that's just how OP is feeling because of this
Right.
situation.
Like, you didn't do enough for the table for them or for the gaming for them.
I think entirely, like that they're taking this whole situation and kind of like taking it way too personally.
Because
I
if you
think
didn't have it, where would you be?
a
If
dinner table.
neither of you had a fun gaming table to play on, you'd just probably be on your Discords still, because that's where all your assets are.
Yeah. And honestly, the table isn't the most important part. I know that's what this story centers around, but I personally think it's nice that the group wanted to make a new table for everyone to be comfortable at. And the OP already expressed that they were going to make a new table, and everyone else expressed they wanted to make tables as well. So I don't know how they were blindsided by this. They were already talking about making tables all as a group. I don't think they're an asshole for just being upset, but maybe they are one for not being willing to move locations.
I can agree with that.
Do you want to do another one, or
I think we could wrap it up here.
okay, 3 stories?
3 stories. 3 stories of gazing into someone's hole.
What? Any other thoughts that you want to add? Not just necessarily to the story, but in general to like.
Well, like, what if you were in these situations? How would you respond to question 1, where Larry comes over and sits at your table? Someone you knew from high school, someone you like to talk about Steven Universe with.
Well, and for that story, OP didn't necessarily know the their players knew this person more than OP did, but they started to get to know them while playing with them. I personally would have said, I don't have the capacity to add another player for this session, but I am welcoming you to watch and listen to us play, and maybe next session you can join. That way, like, I could prepare myself to having another player.
Yeah, like I wouldn't. I would react the same way. Like if Sinai or Will invited a friend in to listen, I'd be okay with
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, this
But
was they allow us to listen to their D&D campaign too.
yeah, for me, I like to make it sound like I like it more story driven. So I
Mhm.
have to envision how another piece would play in the whole thing,
Yeah.
and it takes time.
Yeah,
But
I think
what about getting kicked out of a group or not being invited to play in a group?
that one, honestly, like, if I'm kicked out for valid reasons, then that's on me. You know, it that's something that I would have to work on. I would have to look inward and be like, "Okay, what did I do wrong? And then how can I fix it?" But then I would also try to talk to the DM to really see what happened, like what, or like maybe even the players I would talk to just to see why I was kicked out, because originally the first DM didn't tell OP what happened or why the players were uncomfortable with OP. Like maybe the DM didn't think anything was wrong with what they were doing, but the players did, and that is important because, like I said before, everyone has to be comfortable at the table.
Unless the story is to make you uncomfortable
Well, that's different
for
though.
the plot.
That's a different thing though. You can be comfortable with how everyone is playing, but be uncomfortable because of the story.
Yeah. You don't have to be uncomfortable because of anything outside of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like a freaking table, man. Get over it.
It's so cool that everyone made a table for the whole group. I don't. I would be happy if somebody took my design and made it better for the group.
We'd be happy to just play games in person with people
Yeah,
instead
I
of over
think that's it.
Discord.
That's partly where I'm coming from. Is that
And it's a novel idea too, because it's
yeah.
just so much extra shit you don't really need.
Mm-hmm. It's really just, I guess, more for the experience, but really D&D just started off with a book and a piece of paper and some dice.
Yeah. It's like having a low grade steak from Texas Roadhouse and then going to get your A5 Wagyu or whatever from wherever else.
Yeah,
It's
but
all fucking beef, bro.
just enjoy playing the game. You don't have to take it away because somebody made a new table for everyone to use.
Okay, I think that's enough. I've had enough of these holes.
Okay.
We'll see how this comes out and try again another time.
Okay, I have 3 more stories, but I can look for more.
Maybe I'll find one too.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I love you.
I love you.
Bye.